Hi, everyone. Give me a wave and a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hi. That's so cool. I see. Yeah, so turn on your camera if you want to share your presence with me. I'm just looking at the gallery now and seeing people that I recognize, so that's really exciting. It's so great to see you guys. Okay, cool. Welcome. So my name is Amy Kurzweil. I'm a cartoonist. I've been cartooning for about 12 years. I draw cartoons for The New Yorker and for The Believer magazine and other places. I'm also the author of this book, Flying Couch, a graphic memoir. So this is the story, this is my first book. I'm working on my second. This is a story about 3 generations of women in my family, so it makes a good Mother's Day gift. So if anybody wants to check out my book, The Believer's going to put a link in the chat. So you can click that link, get more information about it, and also part of the proceeds go to support The Believer and also to support independent bookstores. So that's exciting. We want to do that. There it is in the chat. So, okay, so what are we doing today? We are here to learn more about comics. We're going to learn comics. We're going to make comics. We're specifically focused on the 4-panel comic, a classic of the forum. And basically all you need is some paper, a pencil with an eraser. And if you have pens, that would be great, not necessary. And if you have colored pencils, that might help too. But basically all you really need is pencil and paper. Okay, so we're going to start with a warm-up. I like to start with warm-ups because I feel like drawing is kind of like, it's like a sport or like a dance class. Like we got to just get the juices flowing, get our hands moving. So for the warm-up, get a piece of paper. I like to use small paper for this warm-up. So either get a small piece of paper or draw kind of like a note card sized box on the paper that you have. This is a really quick warm up. If you've taken a class with me, you know that I do this with with all my classes at the very beginning of every class. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Don't panic. And I'm going to have you draw a self-portrait. So raise your pencil if you're ready. Okay. On your mark, self-portrait. Don't think about it too hard. Get set, go. You have 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay. How'd it go? I see people. If you're comfortable, hold up and click gallery view in the corner, and we can see some of these self-portraits if people are comfortable sharing them. So beautiful. Oh my God, thank you guys so much for sharing. There we go, there's mine. Cool, so I got this exercise from Linda Berry, who's a cartoonist that I really love. And what I love about it is, I think cartooning is best when it's simple and expressive. And when we draw quickly and we don't judge ourselves, I think that we're closer to getting to that. simple, expressive ideal. So today when we do an exercise, I want you to embrace drawing quickly, and don't judge yourself. It doesn't have to look perfect, and you guys are already doing amazing. So let's get to the main event. What are we here to talk about? We're going to talk about 4-panel comics, and I want to share some sort of classic examples with you of the 4-panel comic. We're going to see what we can learn about them, what kind of principles of cartooning and specifically of this form we can glean, and then we're going to do an imitation exercise. So I'll be with you step by step. But before we get to the exercise, I will share my screen with you, and we're going to look at some images together. So I'll just say, no need to take notes. As I'm talking, the believer's gonna put some of the key points in the chat so you can kind of take that stuff with you, but you don't feel like you need to be taking notes as I talk. So here we are. Okay. So you probably recognize this comic. This is Calvin and Hobbes' classic by Bill Watterson. And I'm just going to talk about what I noticed about these comics as I look at them and see what kind of principles I can take away. So the first thing that I noticed about this comic is it's the same figure is repeated 4 times. So that's pretty simple. Oh, sorry about that. I also noticed that this comic doesn't have words at all. And one question I think is interesting is, does this comic have a plot? And I would say yes. I think that this comic has a plot. It has an inciting incident, which is rain starts falling. It has rising action, which is that the rain increases. And then it has a dramatic conclusion in this sort of inversion of what we expect. And the ending is really important in a 4-panel comic. In this case, the ending, I think, it's not so much dramatic, but it is surprising. And the surprise comes from our expectation being inverted. And that's where the humor comes, is in that surprising ending. So I'll just note that this comic was originally published like this. We see the origins of comics as we know them came from newspapers, and this is the classic comic strip orientation. But today when you search for this comic, you find it often oriented like this. And a simple point is that we put together our comics based on how we think they're most likely to be consumed. So today this orientation fits really nicely on a phone. So we can think about that with our own work. How are we going to be structuring it visually so that it's going to be best appreciated in the format that people are looking at our work? Okay, here's our second example. So this is another classic, Peanuts. So what do I notice about this one? Again, repetition of figures, repetition of scene also. There is some dialogue in this one in the form of a thought or speech bubble. I think this also has a plot arc. It's a really subtle plot arc. It's like the leaf is getting ever so much closer to the ground, so that's kind of like something is happening. And then the ending here is a bit surprising, but it's surprising in a particular way, which is that this thought of Snoopy's, thank you for the dance, makes you reconsider the whole thing. Like it's sort of as if I didn't quite know what was happening until I got to this ending, and then I was like, oh, okay. It makes me sort of think about what the whole thing was about. Okay. This is the third example I'm going to show you. This is from Roz Chast, and this is Parallel Universes. So what I like about this one is I think it's interesting that it sort of preserves some of the principles that we just talked about, but it's also abandoning some of them and kind of doing its own thing. So I'll attempt to read this to you. Parallel universes. Ours. It's 4:27 p.m. and Mrs. N is baking cookies. universe number 7833298601. It's 20397ZFK and Mrs. V is baking pilkers. Universe number 803555476. It's 109L and Tur is baking universe hashtag square root of B. It's L and music note is incomprehensible symbols. So this one's great. What do I notice about this one? So repetition of figures, kind of, although these aren't exactly the same characters. So this is more like repetition of scene or setup or even theme. So these are obviously different scenes, but more or less sort of the same thing is happening visually. This one has words. The narrative is written above the image. This one does not have a plot. Maybe you can fight me on that if you think it does, but I don't feel that this progresses sort of logically, linearly through space and time the way most of our lives do. So that's fun. And then the ending is not so much surprising, but it is a progression. So in this case, I would say we're progressing to an extreme. The comic is getting more and more absurd. Oh, so what can we learn overall? Of course, there are other principles of the 4-panel comic. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but I think these are some classic principles that we're going to try to imitate, and we're gonna remember these as we go. So you can take a picture of this. You can go to the chat to see where the believer has been taking notes, but we don't need to keep this in our mind as we do our exercise. Basically, the exercise is going to be implementing these principles, but we're going to kind of sneakily implement these principles by imitating our examples. So I'll get you back to my face. Okay, so we're ready for our activity. We're going to do what I call a formal imitation. What is a formal imitation? So a formal imitation is a fancy way of saying we're going to let ourselves be inspired by how another comic is put together. So I'm going to choose the Snoopy comic. So you can feel free to follow along with me. I'm going to put on the dramatic live drawing cam and follow with me as I do this formal imitation of the Snoopy comic. What that means will become clear as we go. But basically I am setting up my comic in the same way and making some of the same choices, but adding my own content and my own characters and my own figures. If one of those other comics appealed to you, the link to those images is in the chat. So you can just click that link, open those images, use a different one. Otherwise, the simplest thing might be to join me. So get out your paper, pencil, drawing supplies. Haha. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the comic on my phone. Also an opportunity to make with us today. Please feel free to share and tag me, tag the believer, follow us both. That'll be here for you. Cool. So the first thing I noticed about this comic is that it's 4 panels. So very simple, I'm going to draw 4 panels. And you guys will notice, maybe if you can see closely enough, that I draw on graph paper. So I'll just chat with you as I draw. And I'll tell you why I like graph paper. It's because I like to be able to make straight-ish lines. And this is like a blue lined graph paper. So I can make, I can get rid of the blue lines later in Photoshop. And if you don't have a way to make straight lines, don't worry about it. This is also the time when you might notice that I hold my pen really weird. In kindergarten, they tried to teach me how to hold my pencil like a normal person, but I I defied. Okay, all right, got my 4 boxes. Shout out to Blackwing Pencil. I'm hoping that they will sponsor me one day. Shout out to the Writer's Block who sells me Blackwing pencils. Woo! Cool. So we've done our 4 boxes. I'm gonna move at my own speed, but I want you to feel free to be slower than me, be faster than me if you feel like you know where I'm going. It's sort of up to you. And you can always take this activity home and do it again and again. What I love about the formal imitation prompt is that you can really do it with anything and you can repeat it over and over again. Okay, so I'm looking at the first panel of this comic, and what do I notice about it? I notice that it has a setting that's very simple. It has one character and an object that that character is interacting with. So I'm going to imitate that in my own way. You can make totally different choices than me. Also, if you just are doing this as a way to relax and you don't want to think that hard, you can draw exactly what I draw. That's completely fine. But I'm going to make my own choice. So I'm going to give myself a setting in the first panel. I want us to still be in a tree, but I'm going to be like higher up the tree. So that's going to be my setting. So feel free to make your own choice. You might draw a stop sign. You might draw a steering wheel to indicate that you're in a car. That's my tree. And give it another branch. Cool. I'm going to draw a character now. So when I don't know what to draw, I just draw monkeys. You're welcome to draw monkeys. You could come up with your own character. You could draw your cat, your best friend, your mom, your sister. And I'm going to keep this simple because I know that I'm going to have to draw it a few times. Okay. There's my monkey. Got a tail. And a good tip for comics is like give your character one distinguishing characteristic so that we know it's the same character scene to scene if you aren't yet perfect at redrawing the same character. So I gave my monkey a striped tail. Okay, so my character needs to be interacting with an object. So a banana would be an obvious choice, but I'm not going to make the obvious choice. I think my monkey's going to be blowing bubblegum. So what's fun about this exercise for me is like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this is going. I'm just kind of letting the form instruct me. People often ask me, where do you get your ideas? And sometimes I just get my ideas from drawing random things and doing imitations like this and seeing where things go. Okay. I'm done with my first panel. It's completely fine if you're still working. I'm going to check out the second panel now and think about what has changed. So I saw that in the first panel, there's just it's basically the same thing. There's just a very, very subtle change. So that's what I'm going to do for mine. And I think I know it's going to be based on what I drew. So graph paper also helps with kind of mapping out where you're drawing should go within the frame, which helps with repeating the same image. Not perfect, doesn't matter. Okay. So you can see I'm kind of like dragging my hand to figure out sort of where the character should be in the frame so that it looks more or less the same. And I know that my small change is going to be a slightly bigger bubble. Just a monkey on a tree blowing bubbles. With his striped tail. Well, maybe I want the tail to move a little bit because that's always gives the illusion of movement. Cool. Okay, guys, I'm halfway done. Very exciting. The third panel, as I see, is very similar. It's just a progression of the very small movement. So I know what I'm going to do. And on your end, hopefully you know what you're going to do for your third panel. Something I've really enjoyed about being a cartoonist is watching myself get better at redrawing the same thing. I've drawn a lot of monkeys, so it's almost like I have this muscle memory of this particular character in my hand because I just redraw over and over. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm at my third panel. I'm done with the progression of this plot. And now I'm at the pivotal moment where I have to decide what is the dramatic thing that's going to happen? What is the surprising thing that's going to happen? Maybe like in the Snoopy comic, something will happen that will make me reconsider the whole. I also have this option, if I'm sticking to my formal limitation, to use the thought bubble. So here's where like the real creativity has to come in. On your end, maybe after looking at your 3 progressed panels, you have a brilliant stroke of weird random idea of what you want to do to take it to that surprising conclusion. I'm going to think about it for a few seconds and make a choice, and we will see what I come up with. Okay, I had a stroke of insight that may or may not work and make sense. And I think I'm gonna add some dialogue to clarify what I'm trying to go for here. Pro tip that we learned from Mira last week is to write out your text before you bubble it. So I'm gonna make sure to do that. Okay. Do you get it? If you can't see. I decided that my monkey's bubblegum was going to turn into a mask, and he's thinking, now it's safe to be outside. Not my best work, but I think it's pretty good. Cool. And so now that I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, like, is there anything else it needs? Because of course I can deviate from my formal imitation prompt however I want. I think I'm going to add a sound effect in the middle here because I want the bubblegum to pop and then turn into this mask. So if you guys are having trouble seeing exactly what I'm doing, don't worry. I'm going to share this on my Instagram when it's finished. So I'm going to take us to our next phase, which is I'm going to ink this. But if you are still drawing and still coming up with your sketch, that's completely fine. Just stay with the step you're on. And you can watch me ink. I'll talk a little bit about the supplies that I use for ink. So if you have even just like a Sharpie or a ballpoint pen, anything that makes a permanent mark, that works great. I love this Pentel brush pen. So a brush pen is like a brush that you don't have to dip, and it makes this nice mark that has some line variation. And I also use these Copic fine line pens for inking. So when I ink, I try not to be precious. I try to just move quickly if I can, get a smooth line. I like having two line weights, like a thicker line and a thinner line. Just makes the image a little more dynamic. So and when I ink, I don't feel like I need to go exactly over the pencil. I can make slightly different choices if I feel like I want to make things have a little bit of a different movement. And for some details, I'll use this finer line pen. Cool, done. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort of finalize this first panel for the sake of time. So I'm gonna show you on this first panel what I would do to take it to its sort of complete state. After I've inked it, I wait a little while for the pen to dry. These pens that I'm using on this cheap paper doesn't take long. And then I erase the pencil. And that's optional. Sometimes the pencil looks cool underneath the ink. This helps me get a clean line. And this is also why my workspace is so dirty all the time. These eraser shavings follow me everywhere. Now I can see if I want to make any different choices. So like, I kind of want the monkey's head to be in this thicker line now that I'm looking at it like this. Cool. Get rid of your dirty eraser. Okay. The next thing that I would do to make this work for myself is add some shading. Shading can be complicated or it can be really simple, and I'm gonna stick with simple right now. I just wanna use my pencil. Sometimes I do shading with watered down ink, but I don't have that right now, so I'm just gonna shade with pencil. And all I think I wanna do to this image is just color in the background. So I'm just gonna do that in pencil. Boy, these black wing pencils really are great. Would be super cool if like Black Wing wanted to send me a whole box for free. Just kidding, sort of. Okay, already you can see that this just creates contrast so that I can really see the figure pop. It makes a big difference. Our eye tends to be drawn to high contrast. And then I only use color in my comics when I feel like it plays a narrative role, more or less. So I think I'm gonna use some pink just for the bubble gum. Let's see if I like this shade of pink. That's a little bit dark. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that's what the final aesthetic of my comic is going to be. And if we have time, we can ink the whole thing, but maybe we want to go to sharing now. You guys have a chance to finish whatever stage you're on. Maybe you surpassed me and you inked the whole thing. Maybe you just got to sort of the end of your pencil sketch. Whatever you did, it's amazing. You're a hero. Hello. Welcome back. So I think what I want to do now, even though I know most of you are probably still working on your comics, is to just share where you're at. So I'm just curious, like, what choices did you make? How far did you get? anything you want to share. I see some of you guys are holding up your images. They look incredible. So if you can raise your hand, if you want to share, we'll spotlight you. And the believer will choose you, and you can share what you've done if you're comfortable. So all you have to do is just raise your hand, and raise your hand like in the Zoom.
Oh,
There we go.
hi. So I did a little ghost in a lamp, and you can't tell. So I'm left-handed, so I did the final panels first.
Great.
So that the ink wouldn't smudge across. But yeah, a little moth comes by, sort of attracted by the lamp, and flies around the little ghost, and then becomes a little bow tie by the end.
Oh my gosh,
for
I
being
love
a fashion
that.
statement.
I love that so much. Can you tell us your name and where you are?
Oh
Also?
yeah, I'm Monique. I'm in New York. Yeah.
Cool. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope you will share that with the world too. So thanks, Monique. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So tell us your name and where you are, and then what you have created.
I'm Liam. I'm in Las Vegas, the Jonas Park neighborhood.
Nice.
And I just drew a sort of simple thing. Man lying down, having a nap on a hill, noticing that the cloud giving him shade is starting to go away with the breeze, noticing it, and then just saying, nice talking to you, sir, at the end as it passes him.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Our next share will be, there we are. Hi, tell us your name and where you are.
I'm Mario. I'm in San Francisco, and this is mine. It's just some guy. I don't know. He looks kind of sperm or something. He's a bomb. Then he figures out it's lit. Then it's realizes it's gonna blow, and the last panel is it's the bomb going off.
That's amazing. Yeah, you really went for the dramatic.
Started as a monkey, but I couldn't quite figure out how to do the monkey.
That's great. Yeah, when in doubt, start with a monkey.
Definitely.
Cool. Also, when in doubt, end with a bomb going off. That's always a good tool also. Hey, I know you.
Me? Hey, Amy,
Yeah.
how you doing? This is really great. I recognize a fellow runner who I've never spoken to who just shared 2 ago from the Jonas Park neighborhood.
Cool.
This is me doing a headstand.
Amazing.
Up, trying to grab the lamp on my way out, and then it says my name and a long lost friend.
It's so great.
Bye, Amy.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sean.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm in Brattleboro, Vermont. And what was else?
What's your name?
My name? Oh, Eileen Parks. So I don't know. I'm a children's librarian. I do like to draw. So I kind of went with fairy tales, and I had the gingerbread man on his run. He sees a leaf. He does stop. The fox is starting to appear here, so I tried to make it coming down, and then he arrives, and he gets the leaf, and the gingerbread man runs away.
Amazing. It looks like you guys got more done than I did, so I
forgot to start with pencil, so I'm new. So
starting with pencil is not necessary. I'm just a nervous mark maker, so I use pencil. Here we are.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm Rafe.
Hi.
I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I have this bird-like creature gesturing to the window.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second panel, you can see hopefully a sliver of a nose.
Yes.
And in the third panel, a slightly larger nose. And then
Nice.
I couldn't quite think of my twist, but I had them reverse. And the window nose thing becomes the bird and says back at you. And the person in the interior is now just an eye and a nose.
I love it. So great. Thank you so much for sharing. I love the way comics can just play with like reality in that way. Hi.
Hi. I'm Alice. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. So hi from the future.
Cool. Hello.
So mine is really simple. It's just a little worm and he's down his hole, and I borrowed your bubblegum idea, and he's chewing his gum and it gets bigger and it kind of gets bigger and blocks the hole, and it was gonna explode on him, and then I just felt sad for him. So instead it kind of becomes this balloon and takes him off.
Oh, that's so good. You know, because I had the idea that my bubblegum was going to turn into a balloon, but instead I went with a COVID theme. So I applaud you.
They're both quite symptomatic of isolation, I think.
I think so, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Gabe.
Hi.
I'm in New York, in Brooklyn.
Cool.
Let's see, is this visible?
Yeah.
That?
Totally.
That. So it's a little hard to see. It's pancakes with syrup, and the syrup's very slowly drips, and then when it hits the plate, I took the tried and true method of bomb explodes.
Yes. Awesome. It was radioactive syrup.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Hi.
Hello, I'm Melissa. I'm in Newark, New Jersey, and I also didn't draw in pencil first. I also took notes, but I followed the technique of something going to an extreme. So we've got a guy mixing a drink, and then he pours a little on the floor, and then the drink's all over the floor, and then his shirt's on the floor, and then it's a mess and nude.
That's so good. That's really good. Hello. Thank you for sharing.
Hi, I'm Rona in LA.
Hi.
I thought I didn't get that far, but I thought this might make you laugh. I just really liked the moment where you said, now's the time. You might notice I hold my pencil weird.
Yay.
And I was just like, I couldn't get that out of my head before, then I was going into the second piece was, what am I gonna draw? So that's as far as I got. So maybe the third panel will be then I shared on Zoom and then I exploded.
Yes, that's so good. Please share that image of my death claw grip with me on Instagram, because I must see that in person or in person. Thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm in Connecticut.
Cool.
So I did a monkey.
Nice.
So I started off with a monkey, and then at the very end, second panel, he sees a spider. Third panel, he tries to get out of there. And then the fourth panel, he says, come back, I'm a banana spider. So then I had to do the colors. So I started doing colors. I had to cover up all the blue that I did with the black.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh.
Hey. Nice to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
This is so nerve-wracking, but I'm gonna do it. I want to say I'm so impressed by everybody's cartoons. I don't consider myself a visual artist or drawer, but anyway, thank you, Amy, so much for doing this. This is so fun.
Tell us who you are and where you are.
Oh, right. So I'm Christina, and I'm in the Los Angeles area. Hello. this is what I drew. Let's see, this first panel is just a cat. A cat's not happy. It's saying vegan food is expensive. And then eats the tree. And that's it. That's all I got.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Christina.
Hello, I'm Mike.
Hi.
Fort Collins, Colorado. And this is a little pigeon, and he's blowing bubbles. And then one blows a little bit bigger, and then it's getting super big. And then the bubble kind of takes off above the tree, and the pigeon says, "Oh, crud, there goes my ride."
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love how many iterations of bubbles and balloons we got just from my gum. Hi. We can hear
Hello.
you now. So tell us your name and where you are.
Hi, I'm from India. My name is Yashashvi Kanodia, and I'm sorry I joined really late, and I was kind of late to the bandwagon. But then I managed to create something digitally. I think I spoke to you over Instagram. So yeah, we spoke yesterday. You you actually motivated me to sketch. So
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'll explain my concept to you so that it's at least adding some value to the class. So my concept over here is that a person is going to be sitting on the chair, sipping some wine, and there's going to be a rat inside the hole, and there'll be a glass of wine next to him as well. And the rat is going to be really confused as to why the wine glass is next to him. But then there'll be a text at the bottom which will say, buddy, still couldn't find any cheese. We'll have to manage with what we have.
Oh, that's great. I really hope you finish and share it. Share it with us.
I will, and I'll share it with you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a part of the class. Hi.
Hi. Oh.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Becca. Wait, am I on for everybody?
Yeah.
I'm Becca. I am in New York. This is my comic. It starts with my dog Audrey on a New York City rooftop with a hole in the ground, and then the hole grows bigger, and then the hole grows larger, and she begins to sniff it, and then she ends up happy in a world of food, of bones and a drumstick and whitefish and steak.
Amazing. I love it. It's so great. Thank you for sharing.
Hi.
Miss you, Becca. Hi.
My name's Melissa. I'm in the Chicago area, and I went very true to the Snoopy design. I've got me with the tree with the falling leaf, and the leaf continues to descend. And I realized as I was inking this one that my peace sign got a little bit bigger, so I kind of rolled with that and made it progressively bigger over the course of the comic.
Yes.
And the leaf continues to come down until at the end I am inexplicably filled with rage and stomp it.
I like that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's one last person who...
Oh, it's you, Larry. Larry.
Oh, yeah.
Say hi. My name's Larry. I'm in Toronto.
My name's Larry. I'm in Toronto.
Hi, Larry.
There.
Mommy, you don't have to tell me. I know it's
Okay. Turn it around.
Okay, so
turn it around so they can see.
Want me to do the one that you told me?
Yeah, do this one and explain what it is. And show
I
quick,
did.
quick, Larry.
Okay.
Turn it around.
So I'm gonna.
Okay.
So
turn it around.
First,
they can't see.
Okay, I did on my iPad.
Ooh.
So look, the last one at the bottom, like the last box, 2 boxes at the bottom are like, I can tell you.
Okay, what? Explain your story, Liz.
So first he calls his mother and says, "Can I come over?" And she says yes. And then he goes in his car. And then after that,
turn it around.
And then this is the next one I did on paper because my pencil needed to charge. So I did. So he rang the doorbell, and then he came, and then and then the mother got the dinner, and then she ate it first, and then she closed the door and he left. That's it.
The end.
You want me to tell me the other one?
You already told the other one there.
So he was stuck in the tree, and then he was going in the tree, and then he was stuck in the tree, and then the fire truck came, and then he climbed down with the ladder, and the 4 one's not the one at the bottom, the 2 ones at the bottom.
Say thank Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a finale. That was incredible. I feel really inspired by how you were drawing with a high-tech tool and then you just switched right to pencil. That's really flexible and amazing. So as you can see, the sun has set. It's now dark in my room. We have spent the hour together. It's been really wonderful. Thank you so much for sticking this out and doing this with me. Please, please, please finish and share your work. Tag me, tag The Believer. And The Believer will be doing events like this on Fridays, and you should definitely check them out. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe. And I hope that you can have more time for drawing in your quarantine life. So bye guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Where's my lunch?
Hi, how are you?
Starting.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Yay, miss you. Hi. Hi, Naomi. Hi, Haley and Nick. Okay. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Juliet. Miss you guys.
We miss you.
Hi, Josh and Lily. Okay, signing off.
Bye, Amy. Wow, that was so good. That was the best one yet. So good.
Remover.